no droids, no bounty hunters, no Reylos, no Ray Nobodies. We are here to do Star Wars and talk about, well, sometimes we talk about all kinds of pop culture things. It just depends on what's going on. On a happy note, Andrew Cuomo just got called out for sexually harassing people in his women in his office. Well, what would you expect for a guy whose nipples are strangely pierced? It's kind of gross. Anyway, do you want to talk about that? We're not doing regular politics. I don't like talking about it that much, even though I do go off on a tirade from time to time. Anyway, Valiant Renegade again had a tremendous video on about what is going on with Disney and ramifications and what it might look like for Star Trek and Alex Kurtzman. Basically, he said that Star Trek is about where Star Wars was in 2018. Now let's go back. We know that they re-signed Kennedy to another 3-year deal, and it's really interesting to me. What they did afterwards was very interesting because Disney never does anything above board. Let's go look at how Kevin Feige took over Marvel. The guy who is basically in charge, whose name I can't remember because it's one of those, Perlmutter, I think. I think that's what his name is. Very Jewish last name, very Jewish last name. He didn't want to spend the money on a lot of what they were doing. And it got to the point where Bob Iger stepped in. Kevin Feige started going directly to Bob Iger. Fast forward to 2019. 2018, if you remember, Jon Favreau was on, basically said, I can help you out of this. I can fix this. What's broken? Let me try. He got together with Dave Filoni, and with all this crap going down, let's see, the horrifying moment that was The Last Jedi. The fact that Solo lost $250 million, which is the first Star Wars movie to ever lose money, even though I think now The Rise of Skywalker probably lost money too. When I look at how much they spent on it. When you look at what was going on, it's almost the same thing as what happened with Feige and Perlmutter. I think Perlmutter's issue was they spent a lot of money on Black Widow. A lot more than they should have. He didn't want to do it. Iger said do it, and they did it, and Perlmutter eventually just retired and went away. So, the next year, Disney Plus gets launched. Mandalorian takes the world by storm. Suddenly people are buying merchandise. Disney sees that. Okay. And now we've got Kathleen Kennedy, according to it, there's somebody actually put a time clock up, a countdown clock up. Kathy Kennedy, her last few months, 2 months and 27 days and some odd hours till she's gone, officially. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. If you're one of those people who doesn't think anything's going on, and just a second, Kojak, oh, for crying out loud, just a minute. All right, house, beyond house. This is no. You went into the garbage. Get in your house. Come on, house. Go on. Stand there looking at me like Sorry, guys. if the people out there who don't think anything is going on don't understand how this is gonna again how this is gonna happen. It's not gonna be, she's not gonna be fired. They can't fire her. They can't. They have to pay her all kinds of money for breach of contract. Look what's going on with Scarlett Johansson. Even though my sympathy for her is non-existent because I've never liked her. That's just me. I don't like the woman. Sorry, I just don't. Anyway, it's very interesting to me how the similarities between what went on at Marvel between Feige and Perlmutter and Iger stepping in, and now what's happened with Favreau and Kennedy. Very interesting to me because they're very similar situations in some ways. The thing about it is Marvel was actually doing well at the time. Okay. Star Wars, boom. Disney had a seminal moment. We all know that there was kind of a search for someone to take over for Kennedy. Hey, Chris. And they couldn't find anybody. I mean, they weren't going to get anybody to come in at the end of this trilogy to put this thing together. Now, remember, the movie already started, was already getting ready. 2018, The Rise of Skywalker was already set to start filming that August, if I remember. Yeah. So there was no way they were going to fire her or let her go until that was over. And then it barely limps across the line to $1 billion. It's a shitty movie. I mean, all three of them are shitty, but that was a particularly bad, shitty movie. Okay. So what does this all mean? Similar things are going on with Lucasfilm that went on with Marvel. The man that Feige replaced had been at Marvel for a long, long time. And he was, one of the old school guys. And Feige was, and now is probably not as much as he was because everything Marvel's got on its slate sucks. I mean, he's got nothing coming. The next two ones, I think it's Shang-Chi and then the Ten Rings or something like that, just looks like trash. Okay. The movies that are coming out that look like people want to see them are not Disney movies. Ghostbusters, Afterlife, Dune, but again, they're making a very bad mistake putting Dune out on Warner Home on the streaming service as well as theaters. Despite Oscar Isaac being in the movie, and I know he's Latino, I get PTSD every time I look at him. I can't stand looking at any of these actors. I can't stand looking at poor John Boyega, all right? Because every time I see him, they were part of the worst thing that ever happened in the cinematic abortion called the Disney sequel trilogy, okay? Which, I mean, I really love how Star Wars Theory is telling everybody, well, it's canon now. No, it's not. It's not fucking canon. I don't give a shit who he's talking to. Okay, I really, really don't. There's nothing that says they can't change it, and nothing that says they aren't changing it. I would think someone as smart as him and as well read as him would go, oh my God. You've got Ahsoka being saved by Ezra in Rebels, in the World Between Worlds. Doesn't that change timelines? Yeah, it does. It does. Okay? It changes timelines. Him getting her away from Vader before Vader could kill her is a change in timelines. I don't care what anyone says, it's true. Okay? Then because here's the deal. This is what people are forgetting. Without Ahsoka, Din Djarin doesn't know to take Baby Yoda to the Seeing Stone. Baby Yoda doesn't contact Luke. through the Force, or a Jedi, happens to be Luke, he doesn't get rescued, or he doesn't get to go to learn how to be a Jedi. He gets captured, and then we have what we have. Okay, think you guys are taking the clone stuff that we saw in this way too seriously, because there are clones all over Star Wars. There always have been. It doesn't mean sequel trilogy is whatever. I mean, I know a lot of really well-read people who don't see it, and it's like, I can't. How? Because they don't want to. Theory doesn't want to. Okay, they don't want to see it. I don't know why they don't want to. I don't know why. But things are changing. And I mean, hey man, hey Cinedave. And it has to. Okay, I just a second, I want to show you my latest purchase. Just a second. Just got it. Just got it. All right. Just went over to Target and bought a new workout outfit and got this. Both of them. I would say, well, that's the thing. That was a fan poster that Lucasfilm licensed. I've got it. I got the poster. Debbie Young sent it to me, and it's great. And I got to measure it out because I'm going to take it. I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 things that need to be framed. Journey of the Millennium Falcon, the Han Solo one, and then Luke and Grogu. They all need to be framed. But I went out. I mean, I got it. It's retconned because Luke shows up. If it's supposed to be 5 years after the sequel trilogy, or at the end of the OT, didn't Chuck Wendickhead write that, that strong, mighty Skywalker blood in Fuckstick? Fuckstick was supposed to be Luke's first Padawan. Grogu retcons that. That's a retcon. And it's a profound retcon. Okay, so how do we even know, when I think about it, that Ben and Rey are even going to be in any of this coming up? They're not. The reason why I say that is because if you're going into a different timeline and leaving that just out to twist in the wind, there's several opportunities to introduce profoundly better characters. Jaina and Jason Solo, first and foremost the twins. Anakin Solo. Mara Jade. Well, we're going to get Thrawn. I mean, all these great actors or characters, as a Talon Card, all these profoundly wonderful characters that were fun to watch and would make great cinematic and theatrical, maybe not streaming shows, and they'd be great in them. Okay, and this is the thing. This had to happen. Now, there are people out there that are going to scream about a multiverse. Well, I would posit this to them. If they don't do a multiverse and they just leave it, all right, you're going to have problems, because suddenly Han and Leia have 3 kids and none of them are named Ben. Why would they name their kid Ben anyway? Again, Larry Kasdan with his thumb up his ass. Okay, Larry Kasdan, instead of actually thinking about what would make it better, looking at his personal life and seeing all kinds of failed human beings, and then, you know, casting them on the characters in TFA. I mean, I think and what I find fascinating is that Larry Kasdan, I think, is still married to the same woman he was married to decades ago, and yet he couldn't be bothered to be to let the heroes Han, Leia, have their lives. All right. This is what happens when George Lucas isn't standing over your shoulder going, I don't think that works. I really don't think that works. You know, that's not what I wanted. We should do this. You know, when Larry Kasdan is on fire, he's got George Lucas and Steven Spielberg standing over him going, you know, when he's not, when it's just him. I mean, I think he'd drop a nuke on an entire franchise just to say, well, it just works better that way. Anyway, but back to what is happening. The things that are going on at Lucasfilm are the same things that went on with Feige and Perlmutter, or whatever his name was. And I'm looking at what's going on, and of course, there are other stories out there, and I guess something came out, and maybe Valiant was quoting another, or maybe he was, because I get email updates from Variety and several other entertainment rags. I haven't seen any, press attacks on Chapek. And I'm going to tell you something. Kevin Feige works for Disney. Kevin Feige is a scumbag. Kevin Feige and Andrew Cuomo I'm going to tell you something. I have thought this for a long time. They make, and this is something that Bob Chapek should get out there in the press. So Black Widow gets made. It's in the can, but doesn't get released. But Brie Larson's Captain Marvel gets fast-tracked and released. All right, and was so bad, they had to play funny box office money. Okay? Think about that. Now, why would they do that with Brie's movie? I know why. You know why. Feige was giving all of the accolades and pomp and everything he could to what I think is probably his chick, Brie Larson. Okay? That's what they do in Hollywood. She was sleeping with him. Scarlett wasn't. Okay? Scarlett's movie, from what I've heard, is a lot better than Captain Marvel. And probably, if it had been released, instead of Captain Marvel, probably would have made $1 billion easy. Okay? People like Black Widow. People didn't want Captain Marvel. So, Feige fighting back at Chapek is kind of funny because no one's brought this up. No one said, you know why Captain Marvel was in the can, ready to go, and they went and basically took Captain Marvel into production, marketed it, and got it out there in what, 2 years? Everybody just kind of, you don't think there's something funny going on there? Oh, contraire, my friends. There's a lot funny going on there. A lot funny. And I'm just beginning on this. Okay? Au contraire. All right? And it's going to come out eventually because stuff like that always does. Kevin Feige and Brie were probably And he decided, you know, I'm going to make sure her movie gets out there. And Scarlett's was now, what, 3 years too late, maybe 5 years too late. That's the problem here. It's not Disney not giving her money, but again, they've done it before. They've done it before, and it's very interesting how Chapek is getting beaten up here. I think Chapek is trying to get Feige to realize where his place is. All right, and I think that maybe Feige's behind all this, but I don't necessarily think so because I don't think Kevin Feige. I mean, Scarlett should be pissed at him. If everything I'm saying is true, I'd kill him. I'd be like, you're the one I should have been suing. Why did you put her movie out when mine was in the can and ready to go? All right? The timing stinks. The timing stinks. That's something that I think Chapek needs to talk about. All right? Maybe Captain Marvel never should have been out there. Or maybe Scarlett should have been paid $100 million, whatever, just to go away. And it should have just been, and her movie should have been put out on streaming. Disney, I mean, let's see, Jungle Cruise is a flop, sadly. I think maybe they're learning a lesson about not putting movies out there in streaming and out there in the theaters. And I'm really hoping that, because I heard Shang-Chi and The Ten Rings isn't going to streaming now. It's going into the theaters, which is probably best. You don't make a feature film and then not put it out in the theaters. You just don't. That's silly. It doesn't make any sense. I understand. There's still, I mean, I was at Michael's today just walking around, and there was a woman wearing a fucking mask. We haven't worn masks around here in months. And I could just tell she voted for Biden. You just know the look. And it's like, lady, get the fuck over yourself. My God. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting to me what's going on with all this and how similar to what happened at Marvel is now what's happening at Disney. And like I said in my video yesterday, I don't think Kennedy wants to come back. I wouldn't want to come back. Maybe that's just me. But when you look at the landscape and she doesn't have anything in the copper. Rogue Squadron, but is Rogue Squadron even going to get greenlit? I don't think so. Because if you remember the rule, what the story was, she can't greenlight any feature movies. She can't. And, The Acolyte, I mean, you had Leslie Forehead doing an interpretive dance in the trades, begging to get her movie made, her TV show made. Patty Jenkins, bouncing around talking about Rogue Squadron. I'd like to look at her and say, can't you just make a movie without talking about these phony fucking women's issue bullshit things that you talk about? Can't you? I mean, really? And the reason why I bring that up is this. There aren't any reasons why people aren't going to movies right now. Very few people aren't. One of them is this constant berating and lecturing by people like Patty Jenkins with her pear-shaped ass, talking about women and female-centric crap. And I'm sorry, but female-centric crap is crap. I mean, I'm a woman. Guess what? We women out there, they bore the shit out of me. I'm sorry, you just do. I don't want to watch you on the screen unless you've got a good part. I don't want to watch, When I think about the movies that I saw back when I was like Steel Magnolias, what a stupid fucking movie. You know, I mean, all that was this gay guy wrote a play, it went to Broadway, and then they made it into a movie, and all it was shitting on the dad, shitting on the men in general. Dolly Parton's husband, played by the magnificent Sam Shepard, is disinterested, and it's like, fuck you, you fucking asshole. Hi, I'm like, no one goes to the movies to get yelled at or lectured. Go to the movies to have fun. I don't want to go to Rogue Squadron and see a bunch of dried up, sexless bitches flying X-Wings. Okay, fine, we have female fighter pilots. I don't think they're particularly any more special because they're women than the guys. Okay, and I mean, I'm gonna say this and it's gonna sound sexist, and I think as a woman though I'm qualified. I don't think women should be on ships of war. They used to call the John F. Kennedy the Love Boat. Think about it. I don't think they should be flying fighter jets. I think part of the reason why the military has a hard time recruiting is because they've feminized getting into the military. All right, I don't think trans people should serve. Sorry. I don't think, they do a lot of things that they shouldn't do. And I'm literally like, so, when I have these disconnected bitches like Patty Jenkins whining about what they whine about, I'm like, what are you talking about? You gotta understand. Watch a movie made by one of these assholes about the military. Okay, watch with a veteran, with my husband. All right. He basically does the same thing to those movies, criticizes the shit out of them, like I criticize the shit out of horse movies. Like I just saw Dream Horse, and it was a movie made in England about this dying Welsh town that a lady decides that they should get a mare, a thoroughbred mare, and breed her, and then start a syndicate for a horse for the baby. The mare dies, boo-hoo. We have to have, and I think this is based on a true story, so it really happened. And the horse wins some races and then hurts himself really badly. He heals, shocking, by the way, after what happened to him. And they don't usually come back from injuries like this. And he wins the Welsh Grand National. But watching the movie and watching everything, I'm like, this is so bad. You don't handle horses like this. This is profoundly insulting to me, to my intelligence as a horse owner. All right. I mean, I just got done. Kay had to get her Coggins test now. It's a test to make sure that she's free of this a certain disease that goes through barns like hotcakes. It's bad too. So she goes in. So we get her this every, once a year. Bet said she looked great. I was happy, and so she's doing good. Horses, training them, racing them, the day-to-day work, which is hard work. It's not easy. Is lost on these people. They don't know anything about it. So I'm watching it like this. Hey, Mazers, so should Patty Jenkins, who doesn't know anything about Star Wars, direct Rogue Squadron? No, she shouldn't. Ever. She shouldn't fucking touch Rogue Squadron. Okay, the reason why is because she doesn't know anything about Star Wars. Just like the reason why Leslie Forehead shouldn't be doing Acolyte. Okay, and meanwhile, today I went to Target, I bought this, and saw every book from the High Republic still sitting there gathering dust. Gathering dust. Think about it. And there are people out there that don't think that there's changes coming not only to the leadership at Lucasfilm, it already has happened, by the way, but that the franchise is going in a different direction than it was. There are people out there. Look at what they did with Marvel. All right. And this is all going on right under our noses. I think the biggest and most profound piece of evidence besides Forbes article, Variety article, the Atlantic article, Dave Filoni's new position, his promotion. You know, and there you go. I mean, that was a profound statement. The fact that they had the balls to bring these books tells me they're probably thinking about developing a Bane series. Just wait, I'll be right back. A Bane series would be great, even though I do wish that they would do a Revan series too, and I don't know if they will. If they do, that'd be great. I'm, you know, the evidence is there, and yet we have again people saying that no. It doesn't matter if her name's on the still on the wall. Doesn't matter. Okay. She's in England producing Indy 5. She's not running Lucasfilm right now. For all we know, Mohsen Gupta is. All right. That for all we know. Okay. For all we know, Jon Favreau is. We don't know. I do know that the latest Pablo Hidalgo tweet, somebody put out their favorite Star Wars characters. He listed Jaina Solo. Mazris, you saw that. He listed Jaina Solo. But his first one is a guy named Ben. Not Ben Kenobi either. Okay. The only character, one of the few characters that he had a chance, part of developing. Ben fucking Solo. Okay. Now, he didn't list Anakin. He didn't list Luke. And he didn't list Han. He didn't list Qui-Gon Jinn. Let's see what he did. Let's go back and see. Because it's always fun to see what dipshit is doing. It's always fun to see. So, no, I don't want to do that. Oh, stop it. Okay. Pablo. Twitter. So, the reason why I do this, I look, is to see, this is intelligence gathering. Did he mention Jason? I'm on my way there. Just a second. Well, he was on 2 hours ago. All right, here we go. Okay, I'll show you. Oh, he did like Anakin. Was it Anakin Solo or Anakin Skywalker? And I don't know who Danielle Kieran is either. But the fact that he's got... Here, I'll show you. So he's got EU. I mean, that could be Anakin. It could be Anakin Solo. I don't know. In fact, maybe someone out there could ask him. Oh, here we go. So let's see. Who are the other ones? There's another one. Okay. So Luke's girlfriend, Shara Bry. Lots of EU, huh? He's literally, I don't, what do you guys think? I'm literally shocked at what he wrote, only because he, oh, really? So he puts Ben ahead of Jason. Fuck you, Pablo. It should be Jason, Jaina, Anakin. I mean, but of course, you gotta understand, he was part and parcel to the development of Anakin or Ben Solo. Okay, he was in it to win it. Okay, really. And it's so that doesn't surprise me that he would put that on there. I'm gonna check this out just to see who he's talking to. Okay, so now they're talking about this. Come on. He's trying to tell people that there isn't. He doesn't work at Lucasfilm anymore. He's not there anymore. All right. Why should I believe? Okay, here's the question somebody needs to ask him. If there isn't anything going on at Lucasfilm, why, when you went back to this account, you were following Star Wars, Marvel, and Disney, and now you're not anymore? You bring up EU stuff that you hated, and we're not supposed to pretend that we're supposed to pretend that you're still at Lucasfilm after all the bullshit, and we're all supposed to believe that someone new isn't going to come in and get rid of you? Someone needs to bring up the tweet that he sent to the person. After 20 years, I have no plans and I don't know what hers are. But he says that. We're supposed to believe that there isn't a civil war going on at Lucasfilm when he was the fucking ringleader, according to Gina, when hammer and tong after her. Okay? He was the fucking ringleader. And they knew perfectly well what they were doing. It wasn't the fact she was saying things he disagreed with. No, they were trying to fuck up Jon Favreau because he's fixing what they broke. That's why they did it. Ultimately, and I will go to my grave with this, he was always the target. But the moment this happened, behind the Bob's backs, and I'm not just talking about Chapek, Iger too, because If Doomcock was right about this, and I believe it, the only person, the only way they found out is after Kennedy either called them or, and this would just be her fucking slimy way, emailed them or sent a post-it note saying, we're putting this out there that we're not working with Gina anymore because she's an anti-Semite. Only if you actually, if you believe that, only if you actually can't read, understand context or history, which Paulo Hidalgo and the Story Group and the assholes that treated Gina like crap fall into that category of moron, okay? Moron category. Okay, so that was the thing that precipitated all of this. Okay, all right, there's no civil war. Bullshit! They went hammer and tongs at Jon Favreau. They used Gina to get after him, and then it blew up in their faces. This is classic karma right here, ladies and gentlemen. Classic karma. He not only gets his ass kicked by attacking Star Wars theory, and then, of course, it ends up going everywhere because, and then he puts it on his public, you could see the public, what he wrote on his secured Twitter account. He put it on the cover sheet so everybody could see it. Feelings shouldn't be shared. And there's no civil war, though. So he has to turn around and apologize. Star Wars theories like fuck off and die. All right. That's number one. Number two, then they go after Gina harder because of Luke. Okay? Because they know the end is nigh. They know all the bullshit that they have put together is over. He'll talk about what the latest stuff, but he doesn't push it anymore. It's like, if he sees them tweeting out, he doesn't even tweet out High Republic stuff that the Star Wars account is putting out there. He doesn't. His wife took Lucasfilm off her bio on Twitter. They're gone. If they're not gone, they're on their way out the door. Now, again, the way they do it at Disney is under cover of night. No one saw, I'm going to say Perlmutter because I think that's his name, getting set to the side publicly. But Iger told Feige, you come to me, you don't go to him anymore. Just like Iger said to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, you guys come to me, you don't go to her anymore. All right? They had no idea Luke was going to show up. And I'll tell you something else. When Dave Filoni created that moment where Ahsoka gets saved by Ezra, it's the only 2 shows in Rebels that I can tolerate because Freddie Prinze Jr. is not part of it. Watching that, they changed the timeline. Everybody thought when Ahsoka was fighting Vader that he killed her. And in one timeline, he does. But Ezra gets her out of there. Okay, Ezra shows up, and a new timeline begins in a different. There are people out there that actually believe that there are truly multiverses out there. So having a multiverse in this makes sense to me. And oh, by the way, if there is a multiverse, doesn't mean you have to go back and revisit the shitty one. Okay? They can start all over again. Now, here's the reason why I think Filoni did that deliberately. Because he couldn't stand what they were doing. He knew it was trash. He saw what the fans were saying. And he was like, I'm setting this up so we can fix it. That was the scene. That was the exhaust port for Favreau to nuke everything. Here's how it happened. Ahsoka shows up in Mandalorian. Ahsoka tells Din Djarin to take the kid to Tython, put him on the Seeing Stone. Without Ahsoka, the kid never goes to Tython, never reaches out and captures Luke's attention and never draws him in. There's no Luke. Luke would have no reason to show up. Here's another thing that changes everything. Who is now Luke's first apprentice? Grogu, not Ben Solo. If Ben Solo even exists, which, and I don't think he does in this timeline, let's examine why. The only way that Hasbro can sell Ben Solo figures is to put him in a Sith pack. He's not even a Sith, okay? One, no one wants him around. Now, people can do a dance and say, well, he's at blah, blah, blah. And, I think it was Drunk 3PO reporting that they weren't reskinning Galaxy's Edge for Mando. It's like, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? When you've got kids walking around asking for Grogu and Luke, they have to. It's merchandising. It's money. Okay? They have to. Now, he somehow pulled in Ray and Dipshit into the park again. They're still at the park. Who cares? You know what that is? That's a change of costume. That's it. That they're going to be at the hotel. Another change of costume. Okay? This is something that is very easily fixed. That. So to me, that's on, and it's stuff we've talked about that was out there weeks and weeks ago. So really, I'm like, this isn't new. We've known this. Okay? Not new. We've known this. So are they? Yes, they have to. They have to. Disney is in a financial cul-de-sac. Now, is it going to go under? No. And I'm going to say this to people who wanted to. A lot of people work for that company in Orlando. A lot of people work for that company in Anaheim. Hundreds of thousands of your fellow Americans have jobs, if not in the Disney Corporation, have jobs directly tied to the tourists that come in. And if Disney goes away, their jobs go away. And you don't want that. What you want is Disney to do better. Now let's talk about Scarlett Johansson. Again, she should be asking why Captain Marvel was fast-tracked when her movie was already done. This movie came out years too late. And instead of, attacking Disney, I'd be looking at Kevin Feige going, why? He was on the fast-tracked Captain Marvel. Think about it. Why Queen Brie was given the royal treatment when Scarlett Johansson's the most popular actress in Hollywood right now, except for maybe Gina. You think about that. She should be asking those questions instead of going after Disney, who are like, we're giving you money from the streaming, which they are. I hope she loses her ass. And the reason simply isn't because I like the way they treated her. I don't like her. I don't think she's very intelligent. I don't think she's particularly wise about any of this. And eventually this is going to blow up in her face. All right? This should all be done under cover of. And another thing, I think the question should be, since Alan Braverman is the top legal counsel at Disney, he's leaving. Why did they ignore her lawyers' questions and requests? Why? It's not JPEG. Who is it? Bob Iger let Kevin Feige basically set Black Widow to the side for Feige's little bitch. And that's exactly what happened. That's how Hollywood works. It's not how good you are at something. It's not how talented you are. It's not how much money you bring into a box office. It's who you're fucking and who you network with. Okay? And that's exactly what happened with Brie. That awful movie that she directed and made for Netflix, I'm like, she could basically write her own ticket back then, because she's what I think what she's an Oscar winner, you know, and she's stupping the Marvel boss, right? That's the difference between Marvel and Lucasfilm. Uh, Everything I've seen about Filoni and Favreau, they're decent. They're decent guys. Jon Favreau seems like a dude who just likes to entertain people, and he has fun doing it. And you know, Kevin Feige is, you know, my favorite thing though. When Valiant had his video up, the guy saying, "Oh, Kevin Feige, blah blah," like acting like somehow Feige is some sort of like invulnerable guy. It's like he's probably got about 50 Me Too's on him. And if that ever came to light, you'd see Kevin Feige dry up and blow away. All right, that's Kevin Feige. He didn't. I mean, and everything and the reason why he's all upset with Chapek is because he knows Chapek is looking at him saying, "You got to produce or you're gone." Okay. With Iger, it was, well, we'll just do some funny money, and we'll have the accountants do this, and it'll be okay, Kevin. You keep doing what you keep doing. You. Iger's the one that's been behind all the woke shit. Okay. Not Chapek. Chapek came in last year, and he's just starting to roll into his own. And all this shit starts because they're all afraid that they're going to end up like Kathy Kennedy, gone. And because I'm telling you, but I also think, again, she don't want to come back. I don't think she wants to come back to Lucasfilm. You know, look, it's a place where there's too much drama started by her people. It's a place where the product you're making isn't liked by anybody except for jackasses on Twitter and their, 50,000 fake accounts. It's a place where you draw fire to yourself, and she's not in her element. She can't run a studio. She doesn't know how to. She is the wrong person to take that job. And I think, George Lucas every day goes, why did I give her that chance? He should have given it to Rick McCallum. Because I guarantee you, we would not be sitting here talking about what we're talking about today. All right, Rick McCallum would have done right. He got screwed over, and I think probably Kennedy pulled one of her massively amazing, political maneuvers and fucked him. But anyway, that's what's going on. I'm going to do one more thing and then I'm going to leave because I'm going to work out, people. Okay. Man Ray Sky. 1 hour ago. Oh, she's talking to Adam Lanth Garcia. Let's look at this. So, anybody want to ask where he is? She had said something about going to Greece or someplace. What's interesting, if they're in Greece, then who's filming in Greece, right? Rian Johnson. Okay. So anyway, she's on Twitter bitching, um, but it's really funny. I want someone to ask. So where is Pablo? I need to get on back onto Twitter. I really do. Anyway, I gotta run. It's just really interesting watching all this. Oh, let's see what Matt Martin's doing as long as we're here. It's nothing. I mean, he's oh God, I'm laughing right now. I guess they made a little golden book, The Faithful Wookiee, which Boba Fett shows up in. The cartoon, yeah, the part of the holiday special that was animated, that's going into golden book form. The Faithful Wookiee, it's called, and it's on Disney Plus. It's really interesting to me. I really want if Pablo's gone, I want Matt Martin gone too. I really, really do. I really, really do. It's very interesting. I know, by the way, I'll let you guys go. You know how Gina was bitching about masks and how they didn't protect people? Well, Pablo Hidalgo's wife basically just posted this, yesterday. She went to the eye doctor. She's been vaxxed. She wore a mask and she came back positive for COVID 19. So basically, she just proved, without realizing it, everything Gina was saying was right. I mean, here's the deal: if you've been vaxxed and you get it, and people are, it's not going to be bad. It won't be that bad. I mean, you know, I got the Moderna vax and I'm fine. Just so you guys know, nothing's falling off. I haven't grown a horn out of my head. You know, I'm fine. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Just kind of went off on a rant, but if anybody wants to go and find out where Pablo is and like poke at him on his public, I'd really appreciate that. This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.